Hi Friends is a podcast hosted by me, Dalyce Wilson, cannabis enthusiast and Black Indigenous artist. Join me each week as I use cannabis with guests. Hi Friends is all about providing a safe, judgment-free space for Black and Indigenous folks to have a meeting of the minds. Through these herbal chats, we will be learning and gaining new tools to have healthier, healing conversations in the moment. Thank you for tuning in, and happy smoking! Hi friends! Okay, welcome. Welcome to today's podcast with Hi Friends. Today, I've invited my friend August Rose to the podcast for today's episode. We knew each other in high school. That's how we met. And he went to AMDA in New York for acting, music, performance. He's a talented musician right now and actor and performer living in Queens, New York. And yeah, so August, what are you smoking today?
Hey, okay, so I'm smoking a mix of Platinum Kush, Snow White, and Orange Cake.
And Orange Cake. Okay,
Yeah,
I think
it's a mix of all those.
Perfect. I've definitely tried OG Kush before. I'm not sure about the other ones.
Platinum?
Platinum? I don't know. See, this is the thing. I'm an oxymoron for a stoner. You would think that I would know a lot more about the brands, the strains, the strength, the this, the that, and no.
Well, the good thing is you're living in LA, and LA stoners are different. That's how I learned everything. LA stoners will teach you everything. LA stoners go to the stores and like talk to them about the brand and like, I want this feeling, or they get to know the people.
Mm-hmm.
But I lived with in college when I lived out in LA. I lived with a hardcore stoner, dreadheads, everything, bongs, everything. And the reason I started smoking, I didn't even want to smoke. He was just like, "Come on, let's smoke with me." But he broke it down for me where he would like tell me what I was smoking, like the effects of it. Also, I didn't pay for it, so I was just like, okay. And
yeah,
also,
exactly. It's free, so okay.
Also, I'm a lot of fun when I'm high, so he liked it. He enjoyed watching me laugh for like an hour and a half till I fall asleep.
Okay, before we jump into that, hold on. Let's see. I wanted to start off by talking about, doing a blood sugar check-in right now. Sure. So right now I'm 138 and I'm about to start smoking Blue Dream.
Oh, I love Blue Dream.
You like it? Yeah.
My favorite.
So Blue Dream is 24.4% total THC, which with 0.14% CBD. So barely in the CBD. It's a more sativa dominant hybrid. Indica is going to be something that's going to mellow you out, make you a little bit more lethargic and heavy. And so today I'm sticking with a sativa dominant to see how this conversation goes. I also have a CBD, like an actual CBD vape pen that you might see me smoking because CBD calms me down. So,
well, she's doing that. I will be rolling a blunt while we're talking. But I will be smoking my little bong.
Oh wow, your bong is so cute. Amazon. All right, so let's see. We're lighting up now. Yo, August, this is the first time we've ever smoked together. I didn't start smoking until I was 21, smoking and drinking. So right now I'm not really a drinker. I don't really mess with it like that. I have type 1 diabetes, and August, you have type 2 diabetes, right?
Yeah, I have type 2. So same. I didn't start I started drinking since I got to college. But smoking, I didn't start smoking until I was 23, actually. No, 22. Yeah. I just didn't have a need for it. And then I was blessed with it. And I was just like, And I didn't even smoke it hardcore until like I was like 25.
Okay. So can I ask you about what that experience was like? Like, I know a couple of people who I've talked to about smoking weed. They get into their heads more when they tried it, and that really freaked them out. So for you, what was the experience like when?
So because I am a mental case already, it kind of like frees me up because it disrupts the noise. So for me, when I first did it, which they got me drunk and made me do it, I had a headache, but it didn't like do anything to me. But then like when I actually started smoking, like I realized like the little voices in your head like started calming the fuck down.
Wow, I'm so happy you said this because I feel the same way, you know? Yeah. I have a very overactive mind. I'm a photographer, I'm a creative, you're an artist as well. So I think there's something linked, with that for sure. Plus I suffer from anxiety and depression. So with my anxiety and depression, I seem to fixate a lot on the same things and I will play them out over and over and over again. Same scenario. What if I did it differently, or the scenario that I wanted to do or whatever? So it's like my brain is constantly working. Sometimes before I started smoking, when I was in that mindset of overthinking and fixating and having intrusive thoughts, it would keep me up at night. So I was like in university, not really sleeping, stressing out over this boy, this exam, whatever, my next moves in life. And after I started smoking, it was a friend who introduced it to me. And the first chance I got to smoke it, it was with an apple. So it wasn't even with a joint. It wasn't with a bong. It was through an apple. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was vegan and I was like, apples are vegan. It's cool, whatever. And I remember, the calmness, my thoughts, I just felt a calmness coming over me.
And it wasn't even just the calmness in the moment. It was like the wake up after, after you had a good high and then just like, that was a good, like, relaxing moment. Like I definitely agree with you. I definitely have an overactive mind where I overthink things and I think in the future, and I like to plan things that may never come to fruition because I'm just planning on in reality. And like I said, I started at 23, but it really didn't, like, it didn't catch me. But like, you hit 20, 25 and you start realizing you're an adult and you start trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
And then, that stress and that anxiety and that part of depression comes in, just, life things start happening. You're just like, I need something to like get away from. And like my anxiety gets so bad, like I can't focus. Like it fully becomes something where like I may feel like I want to do something, but I will do like 14 things at a time and do nothing really.
Right. Yeah. That kind of like scatterbrain. Like, well, I have so much to do, so let me try to do all of it at once. And then you are accomplishing nothing. Yeah.
And then you're restless. And then the other thing, I'm a terrible sleeper at that. So like, this helps me like take naps, honestly.
Yeah. The body needs rest.
But if I'm and the funny thing is I go through like months at times where I don't smoke. Like, I'll just stop smoking, just make sure I'm like not dependent on it.
Well, let's talk about that. That's an important thing. I recently took a 2-week break from smoking anything, drinking anything. Like, it was just a complete sober break. And for me, it was interesting because time slowed down, actually. I realized how long a day is. And I've done this before. I've stayed at temples in Thailand and done like 10-day, 16-day silent meditations where I had to be sober. So when I talk about cannabis use and marijuana, for me personally, I do use it mostly every day. I'm usually smoking or eating it or, using it in hemp hair products, things like that, oils. And, and I find it really helpful, but like you, I don't want to get to a place where I feel like there's no choice. I think that's what it was. Because for me, there's points in my life where if it was around and friends had it, I would just be like, yes, of course, yes, because I know it makes me feel good and it's nice to share with people. But it's also nice to have that choice of if I don't feel like it, being like, no, I'm good, So I think that's a thing that has freaked some people out in my life, either romantic partners or even family members. Like my mom isn't down with me smoking. How about you? What about your friends and family? How are they with cannabis?
Well, actually kind of funny because literally like all me and my cousins, the only person who doesn't really smoke is my older sister and my younger brother. But like the rest of us all smoke. And it was so funny. I didn't smoke with them until like maybe the last year, honestly.
Really?
And because the funny thing is, as big as my family and close as we are, I'm always somewhere else. Like I'm an oddball. I like ghost places. I'm different.
Yeah.
I'm to the left. So, I didn't really get that interaction with them as adults. And like, we all smoke and we all like go together and get weed and stuff. And like, we share weed and buy our paraphernalia together and stuff. Like, it's low-key like our bond right now. And I'm here for it. My mom doesn't care because she's tried it before and she's just like, like you're 30. Like, what am I gonna say to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I love that she tried it. And if it's not for her, then that's, totally cool. I think it's nice that she was open to the idea, and that you have siblings that you can also have this community with and feel secure and safe in that environment.
And the thing is, I think that's why she's ultimately okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, me and my little sister smoke. My brother and my older sister don't. But she sees, like, when we're together, like, we're having a good time. And I think that's one of her things. Like, we were not, like, the closest siblings because we're all spaced out in age.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, for some reason, like, at this point now, where everybody's getting a little bit older, like, they're 24, Dee's 40, I'm turning 30 in a few months. It's just, like, I think everybody's, like, starting to get together. And she's just like, oh, leave him alone. And just,
Yeah.
like, even harp on him, like, we were all sitting around just smoking, and, we'll go over and sit around the corner and smoke at our house. She doesn't have a problem with it. If she don't feel like smelling it, she'll go upstairs to her room or something. But, like, she can sit with us and hang while we're doing it and don't, like, feel bothered by it.
I love that. Do you ever feel uncomfortable in spaces? Like if you're at someone else's house and, you want to go outside and smoke a J, have you ever been in a position where people have been like, no, or if you're in a car, like, no, I don't feel comfortable with you smoking?
So I'm polite in that way where, I let the house rules, do what they do. Cause I definitely will just go step outside, or if I know ahead of time, I'll like smoke before I walk in the house, like just coming a little bit lifted. Cars, I've tried not to do cars just cause I'm black and I don't really have time to be fighting with a police officer, and I'm violent already. So that's just not going to work for me.
So August is in Queens, New York, and it currently was legalized, right?
First of all, not even just legalized, like they literally kicked down the door for it. Like, I will say when they put that bill in, like they did what they had to do, because it was like, it wasn't even like they just legalized it. They legalized it. They said they're expunging everybody's record.
Did they?
Yes.
That's an important part. They expunged the records. Okay. What about all the
records? You can grow it. They're legalizing you for you can have your own little setup and grow it.
So the people that were imprisoned for marijuana possessions, they've been released, or they're in the process of releasing
I think they're in the process of it, because it only happened like maybe 3 weeks ago.
Right. Okay.
Maybe 3 weeks ago. So I'm actually like just proud of that. They rolled it out the right way. They didn't do it incremental. Like, my thing is, if you're gonna make change, make change. Don't half-ass it.
I love that. Yeah, I'm the same way.
So also with the bill, there was just like, they gave you the license to grow it. Like, you don't have to like go to some licensure to have your own setup in your house. Like, you could buy weed. And then also I think they're setting aside like the business licenses for cannabis for, those affected by it, like the crime rates about it. So I'm, like I said, as of right now, I'm like, okay, so y'all took it a little step further than other states already, because like, other states have it, but it's just, they're still like, we're going to control it. They're like, listen, y'all have it. We're not going to fight y'all against this one. Cops can't stop y'all. They can't even use it as a reason, like, you know what I mean? So
Right.
They definitely stepped their game up and went against the grain on that one, because my thing was, I was like, wow, they even put in legislation to combat the police.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I was really nervous coming back to the States. I was abroad for 6 years, and weed is illegal in Thailand, but I mean, you would find places
where it's illegal in Thailand, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Thailand.
Exactly. It's illegal in parts in America, and like people still use it here. And I knew that was something that my family was concerned about. My mom was like, girl, like you cannot be smoking out there. Like you will be in jail for 40 years, this and that. And like these things do happen. They also happen here in the States where people are imprisoned for marijuana, and we're realizing that that is not just, so in, Thailand, I found ways to safely do it and not get caught, and back here in the States, I had to come back because of the pandemic. And so I'm pretty much restarting life, here in America and getting used to the rules here. When I first came back, I was in Maryland staying with my dad. And it wasn't legal in Maryland at the time, but we were close to DC and it was decriminalized there. So just all these weird rules of like, having to adjust myself in society here. I've since moved to California, so that's where I am now in San Diego, hoping to move to LA soon. But now that it's legal here, that has really honestly taken a weight off of my shoulders. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't have to worry about that here. And it was not the main reason for moving to California, but it was a huge perk, part of the reason. Like, I don't want to have to worry about dealing with police. We already have to deal with that. We're Black, but I don't want to have to deal with getting imprisoned for something that I do, medicinally and recreationally.
And the funny thing is, I would say I moved back to New York in 2016. I will say after around that time, the thought process on weed had completely changed. Like,
where were you before 2016?
I was in LA.
In LA, okay.
Yeah, and then I moved back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole energy about weed in New York was completely different than before I left. And I will say they've been knowing this was coming, like the legalizing, I pushed to legalize it for like the last 4 or 5 years. And you could tell like they've really been like lax about it because, I'll say this, I'm from New York and I really don't give a shit a lot of the times. So I would smoke walking around the street in the city. Like, I usually work in Manhattan. So like walking past cops smoking and they wouldn't say anything to you. So it was like, my thing was that, what are you really going to do? Like, go ahead, you going to give me that? Go ahead. Like, I was just like, but it was just like, at that point, it was just like, it's not a thing. Like, I'm really just choosing to make it a thing. It's not a thing. Right. Like, you watch TV, they talk about weed. They talk about so much weed, if you think about when we were growing up as kids. Like, they had a show called That 70 Show, and it's literally them sitting around smoking weed all day. So it's just like, why are we sitting here act like this thing is like that thing? Like, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. It's like, but, let's be clear. Y'all drink alcohol, kill people, rape people, like, drive cars, crash. Like, alcohol is 10 times more destructive than weed, which is going to make you laugh and then fall asleep somewhere.
Exactly. Right. I think I grew up, with the influences of the adults in my life. Well, mainly like my mom and my grandma and my aunt, who enforced this idea that all drugs are bad and weed is a drug and you can't be a good parent if you do weed. You can't be a good person if you do weed. You can't be a successful person. All of these extremes, and all of our beliefs and our, I think our beliefs and opinions on things are heavily influenced by our community and our environment, unless we stop to unlearn those things. And it wasn't until I moved away to University of Pittsburgh. Woo woo.
You sure did. My cousin went there. That's funny.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was a different community in Pittsburgh. There was definitely a lot more Black people where I was compared to Columbia, Maryland, where you and I went to high school. And then on top of that, it's higher academia. So it's kind of like you have the different open minds, the different experiences, things like that. And I realized I was having all of these opinions about things that I hadn't even tried. And also I didn't really understand, So for me, seeing the progress and changes in our society is fantastic, especially after knowing how things were 10, 11, 12 years ago,
Like literally knowing you and then like seeing you now is so funny.
Can we talk about this? What is this?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because you were like a grade A, like, alpha student, like A student down, like goody two shoes, like don't do wrong because I think this is wrong and morally we have to do this and I'm conscious and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you were fun still. You were fun.
Okay, so let's make that be known. I like to follow the rules and be a good kid, but I was fun.
You were fun. You were definitely fun. And that was the funny part about it because it was just like, you definitely went hard for the things you thought were right, but when you did wrong, you did wrong. It was just like, oh, it was fun. Like, and now to see you now to be like the full hippie self that you really have always been in my mind, like this version of you now, I'm like this makes sense. This makes sense.
I love that. I really do like revisiting moments when we get to know people. And for me, when I first met you, it was 9th grade. It was drama class.
Oh shit, you definitely were in drama class with us.
Yes. I remember being like, I'm going to be honest with you. My experiences in high school, I was feeling very like odd man out, black sheep, you know. I felt like I didn't fit in with the people that I wanted to fit in with, and that was the Black students. I wanted to connect with people who looked like me, but I think like, I don't know. I mean, you knew me in high school. I think the way that I think it wasn't understood.
You were stuck up.
You said what?
I said you were stuck up.
Oh, stuck up. But how did that come off? Like, what do you mean?
It came off as, like, I knew you and I didn't have a problem with you, but I knew what you gave, like your energy gave. But also, I'm one of those people who just like, yeah, you give that, but you're not gonna give that with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you were stuck up, but also it's just like you're still trying to figure yourself out. So you also give those people grace. And when I say stuck up, you weren't like nasty or rude, but you definitely had what I was saying before. Like, you know, I don't really like people who can't change their perceptions of things. It's like you were going off. You very much was the kid who listened to their parents.
Yeah.
And you know, in high school, that don't really work because that's when you really start trying to figure out where you want to like, where your real like movement is. You know, you start trying to wiggle out from under your parents, and you were like comfortably under your parents in that way.
But if you remember junior year and senior year, that is when
completely different person. Completely different person. This is what I said. You were fun.
Yeah.
I think junior year is when we actually started hanging out for real.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I talked to you sophomore year because I don't think we had anything worth being around each other. But I think junior year is when we started hanging out again, and it was just like, oh, she's fun. Oh, we're cool. We're cool.
Imagine if cannabis was involved at that time. Like August used to come to my house. We would like eat food, watch something or whatever, and then just pass out in my living room. We would just like sleep and like, or just go out.
It was so cold.
You said what?
Because your living room was so cold.
That's right. Yes. It was perfect place for a nap. Yeah. And especially in the summertime, we would go outside. Sometimes we would go for walks or go to the pool or whatever. Yeah. It was nice to connect with people. I don't think a lot of people understand what it means to me to connect with people because I've had such that kind of experience of what you're describing, like people thinking that I'm stuck up or having. Sometimes I've had trouble connecting with people, whether that's because of my own beliefs or the way that I express those beliefs, you know? And
you're like me a little bit. I'm a little bit more personable where people, it's true. People just kind of gravitate toward me, good or bad. Like,
hell yeah.
I could definitely be a bitch to you and people be like, oh, he's great. Whereas, you know, you are kind of the same way. Like, you're very real. Like, it's not that you're putting on at all. It's just you're very real, and it's just like there. Yeah. It's there. And if you're not a person who's secure in yourself, you can't deal with that. Like you just can't. And as I've gotten older, I've realized like everybody is not for everybody. And then sometimes it's just like people know who they can deal with.
Yeah.
And they know what energy they could like combat. And sometimes people's energy just annoys people, and they got to figure that shit out for themselves. So. You know, you say you felt outside. Like I felt like I was an outsider because I really didn't feel like. I feel like, you know, people like me, but like I don't feel like people got me, and I still to this day don't feel like people get me.
Right, and there's a difference between liking someone and understanding them.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, some people are trying, like are starting to get it, or just starting to like understand it, and I think even I'm just starting to understand it for some reason. But yeah, I think, you know. I don't think you were like a bitch. I just think you were just like, you just are polarizing because you had a way about you. You knew your shit. Like you was a bad bitch before the term bad bitch was a thing. And that's just facts.
I love that. Thank you. You
give natural bad bitch energy. Everybody's gonna talk about that.
Hey.
Period.
I love that. I think that's why we resonated so much. You talk about energy. That was something that I picked up on with you. I think sometimes people do have to teach others how to treat them. And because when I first met you, you were just yourself. You know, we were all trying to figure things out a little bit, you know, of course, and trying to like feel comfortable in who we were. But I just remember feeling like you were very comfortable with who you were. And I was like sucked into that, you know? Yeah. And I'm really happy that we were connected, you know, in Columbia, Maryland. It's weird how life works out. Like we both come from that place, and, you know, of all the things, I have a lot of pain from Columbia, Maryland and growing up, but like a lot of the things that fill me with love are the connections that have like stayed, you know, and that have.
I think, you know, it's so funny because like I moved to Columbia, you know, I'm from New York. So, you know, I think going to Columbia, like, completely changed the trajectory of my life. No,
Yeah.
no lie, because if I went to school here, I'd be a monster, number one.
You think?
I'd still be fun, but I'd be a monster. Because there was just things that here that just annoyed me, and then like just kind of stifling me.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to be caged in. I'm also very much a free spirit. So it was just like, I don't think if I stayed here through high school, I would have done a lot of the things I did. I think I would have kind of just been like, just leave me alone. I'd have kind of isolated myself. And I think Columbia was like weird for me because you come from New York and it's very much a place where it's just like, you could be nice, but you also better know you have to whoop somebody's ass sometimes. You know what I mean? So like, I always kind of carry that energy with me. Like, I'm not looking to impress you. I'm not looking for friends. I'm just me. And if I happen to talk to you, you talk to me, and we could vibe. And that's literally it for me. Like, I don't really have any pretenses with people because in my experience, everybody's fucking crazy. So it's just like, is this kind of crazy I can deal with or not?
Right. Yeah.
That's really how I look at it. And then going to Maryland was just like, I remember the first week I was out there. Number one, it was quiet.
Yeah.
That shit drove me insane. I couldn't sleep the first week I was there. Then going to school, it was weird because everybody was friendly and I didn't know these people. In New York, everybody's like a slow burn. Like, nobody's like going to jump in your face like day one, like, oh, let's be cool. Like, or be like, oh, hey, how you doing today? Like, I'm like,
it's like a little suspicious, yeah.
If you remember like the first maybe month I was there, everybody thought I was a quiet person.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, because I was sitting there trying to assess the situation. It's just like, oh, they're just like nice people. Oh, okay. And then, you know, I just let my guards down. Just like, okay, cool. These are my folks. I didn't have bad issues in high school. I told people this all the time. Like, high school was like actually cool for me. Like, I didn't have any like really bad experiences. Like, I was well liked. Like,
yes, you were, absolutely.
I was talented. I did stuff. Like,
yeah, you were involved. Yeah,
I hung out with who I wanted to hang out with. I did what I wanted to do. I wasn't really like, I didn't struggle like that for high school. Some people really didn't. I'd be like this.
Yeah, I feel like your experience is almost a little bit rare. Like, even me, I'm like, oh, I know as an adult, I get triggered by things that are like linked to like things that happened in high school. You know? High
school was so cool for me. And I was just like, and I talk to people all the time, like, I don't relate. And you would think, and the funny thing is like, you would think that I would have like some bad things. So I was like, first of all, I was the fat kid my whole life. So you would think that would have been an issue, and it just never was an issue with me. It just never was an issue. First of all, you couldn't tell me a fat joke I didn't know already. So it was just like, why would I let that bother me? Like, also, I didn't have a problem with me being fat. Like, I was like, I mean, my mother's fat, so like, what am I like?
And you loved yourself unconditionally. That was one of the things that I learned from August was true self-love and confidence. It was just all around you in your aura and just in your family too, just being around your family and, you know, reflecting back to the environment that I was growing up in. Like, it was very clear to see, you know, Black pride and a loud pride, you know what I mean? For me in my house, I think it was there, but it was subdued. And it's not until adulthood that I've been able to talk about more deeper things, like about like race and confidence and how, I don't know, about what it is? More self-assured.
You know what it is though? I'm gonna tell you what it is. And I talked to my mother and my grandfather about this all the time. It's the respectability politics. People in Maryland play respectability politics because Maryland is that weird state where it is very racist, but it's so covert because people are friendly about it.
Right. So you don't even know you're experiencing it.
So like me being there, I've had those experiences out there.
Yeah.
Even in school, and it's just like, okay, I see what's going on. But that's because I'm from New York, so it's just like, New York is a melting pot. So I went to school with white kids in elementary school. Then I went to school with Caribbeans and Africans in middle school. So it's just like I was a little bit more equipped for it down there. Mm-hmm. Also, like I said, you just wasn't going to try that shit with me.
Right.
I would pull you out about it. But the respectability politics that our parents had and that our grandparents had was something that with us, it just didn't work. Like, we got to the point where it's just like, why am I being respectful for shit that don't make sense?
That doesn't make me feel good.
And it's like, I know other people do this, so why am I trying to be something I'm not? And it's not, I don't even think it's trying to be something you're not, but it's just like, why am I performing this way? Get me out of the white gaze. And I think that was the issue. Our parents were raised in the white gaze. Like, okay, so for you to be good Black kids, you have to go to school, get college degrees, have a wife, have a husband, have kids, take care of your kids, and then, you retire, you own stuff, or, that kind of bullshit. And now you're looking at it, it's just like, that ain't the reality anymore. Like, you can really do what the fuck you want to do. You're not tied into anything that was there before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really get to make your own choices. And I credit that fully to my mother, because she's really, like, not on your back parent at all. Like,
yeah,
she's very much guardrails. I call her guardrails, because it's like, she don't really tell you what to do. She just tell you what you can't do. Like, this is how far you can go. Now, you can go outside of that, but then you got to deal with that. But this is where you live. I'm not going to be in it. I'm not going to be anywhere in this. You come to that, then we're going to have some kind of, And, I didn't really have like somebody telling me, well, this is what you're supposed to do, or, oh, go out and do this. It was literally just like, oh, I feel like doing this. Now it's funny. Now it's funny. She has moments where she'd be like, well, that's not right. But I'm like, do you really believe that? And then she's like, no. And I'm like, exactly. So stop.
I love that open relationship as well with your parent and your mother and your family. And I mean, that's also something that's a little rare, I think, especially in our community, to have a close relationship with parents, either one or either of them. For me, my close relationship is with my dad, and he has given me a lot of guidance in life for just kind of, showing other ways to be. And then me as an adult also giving me the autonomy, like allowing the space for me to have, my own free will to.
Autonomy, that is the word.
Yeah.
I think my main credit is that I have been completely autonomous of everything, and not in a bad way where it's just like, oh, I get what I want. No, you get to be autonomous in your decision making, but whatever that reaps, that's all you. Like, you're not scot-free from anything. So you make this choice, you got to deal with all the consequences of that choice. And like I said, she wasn't like very much on us. Like, she very much let us do us and figure and fall and hurt ourselves and fuck shit up on our own. It's like, that's how you learn.
You learn, yes. Yeah.
And I think even the relationship with us actually only got better when I got older.
Exactly.
We could talk, but like, I think when I got older, and then, like I said, I was always away, and you start like processing things from your childhood.
Yeah.
I think I in turn go back to teach my mother about things.
Yeah, so that maybe she can unlearn the things that she, was exposed to and things like that, taught, through whether it's society, her family, whatever. It's just kind of like, I think it's cool. And I think it's almost a gift, right? That we as kids can go out into the world and then come back to our families, come back to our parents and friends, whomever. And
it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
It's like raising a kid again. Yeah. We were just telling my mother last night. I was like, why do we have to tell you this? Like, 60, and then it's like, we're getting older, so you want us to raise you again? Like, okay, we get it, but like, can you not just be complicated? Like, stop being complicated.
Well, August, we're running out of time, but this has been such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I wanted to give you a chance to shout out your social media, maybe, if there's any ventures you're working on now, like, here's your time.
All right, so my name is on Twitter and Instagram is Call Me August Rose, or at least Call Me August R or something, one of those two. That's Twitter and Instagram. You'll see it. It'll come up. I'm actually releasing the EP at the end of the month on the 30th. Just a little three-song EP. I haven't done music in a long time, and I've been refinding that, love for it and energy for it and space for that creativity. And then I'm also working on a podcast with my cousin called Cousins, because we're the gay cousins, and it's kind of funny. And I don't really know what that's going to be yet, but it's going to be fun. I know that. So
awesome. I'll keep an eye out for your EP. Is that going to be on Spotify?
It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be all the thingies.
On the platforms. Okay, great. And your podcast, Cousins. That sounds exciting. I can't wait. Well, thank you, August, for speaking with me today with Hi Friends.
And with the Hi Friends.
Yeah. And I'll speak to you soon, okay?
Work.
Okay, bye.
And that's the show. I hope you liked it. Bye, friends.